What's up, banana bunch? Bunch? Bunch?
Welcome to the Jungle Gyms podcast. What's up, Banana Bunch? You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the Jungle Gyms podcast. I'm your host, Mark. Welcome to the show. All of you out there listening to the audio only version, I appreciate you. Hope you're having a great day. You're probably listening to this on your commute or just regular listening to this. And of course, I want to give a huge shout out, maybe even a bigger shout out to all of you watching along on YouTube. We're such a visual program. And you know what I like about YouTube is that you can also not watch me, but still listen to me in the background. So, you know, I'm just saying, depending on where you're listening, maybe that's, maybe do me a solid. Just click it there instead of Spotify. Thank you all so much, though. All kidding aside, I appreciate you all very much for supporting the show. Been getting a lot of nice emails lately from everyone. Actually, there's been a bunch of them that have been very funny. I paused for the awkward cut there because I realized something. Not only have I been getting like nice fan mail recently, which is crazy anyway. I know I showed the stickers last week. I get a lot of really nice emails from all of you. And I wanted to start with this one here. This is really cute. This actually, I got this drawing when I was in Orlando. So a while back here in the store, and I don't know if the clip ever made it to air, but when I had Dr. Karen in giving me the pediatrician approved seals for products around the store, I ran into a family that was here, and it turned out they had lived in Cincinnati at some point, and later on it turns out that we have a lot of mutual friends, which is, that's how small Midwest town works. Small Midwest towns work. There we go. And they run a page called The Happy Human Adventures. They do a lot of charity work. They're just really sweet, nice people. And when I went to Orlando for that podcast convention, they reached out to me. They're like, oh my gosh, we also live in Orlando. If there's anything we can do for you, let me know. And I was like, I'm weird. I'm bad at taking help and compliments. Not even like help, but like, you know what? As somebody who has had people reach out to him constantly for in faux friendship ways, like, hey, Mark, can you give me those free tickets? Hey, can you give me, oh, I saw you had like a giant full boar's head chicken the other day. Let me get a slice of that. I just always thought that was weird, right? So I never want to be that person to someone else where you're like, oh, you're not my friend. You just want stuff from me. But I thought this was so cute. So Tyler, the father in the group here, his daughter Josephine, well, I mean, they're all part of the family, but Josephine drew this cute little drawing of me. It's like the little Mark logo that you see sometimes. It's on my fridge in the background of some of these shots. You may have seen the rug here that we had, that I had made for it. So I thought this was really cute. And I've been meaning to show it off for a few months, and I had it on my desk at home, and I finally remembered to bring it into work so I could actually show everyone. But thank you, Josephine, if you're watching this. I appreciate it. That really made my day. It was really sweet. And thank you, Tyler, because you guys dragged me into Disney World, and I finally got to see the Star Wars park. It was incredible. So thanks for that. And this is the kind of cool stuff that happens. I don't know. I got an invite to a wedding today, and the person that invited me is an astronomer. So, you know, that hit a few notes in my life. So honestly, everybody, it's really, really cool. It makes, I don't know, I'm feeling the love right now. Let's put it that way. So if you're also feeling the love, you know how you can show it. You can get your tickets to the Jungle Gyms International Beer Fest. I'm like writing all these notes. I'm like, say thanks to everybody. Talk about this. Talk about this. Ooh, don't forget to talk about Beer Fest coming back. But, you know, I have mentioned it the last couple episodes. Beer Fest is coming back, baby. It's June 16th and 17th. Tickets are available on junglegyms.com. You know the drill on that one. We'd love to see you. And it's pretty close to my birthday. So, I mean, it's a good way to celebrate all of us. If you bring cake to Beer Fest, I'm pretty sure that's allowed. So, gosh, can you imagine if a lot of you now bring cake to it? And then I have to eat all of it, which is incredibly uncomfortable for both of us and anyone else attending. But check that out. There's another festival coming soon that I've kind of hinted at a few times. And I'm just waiting for 100% clearance to announce it with all of you. But it is one of the two festivals you all message me about all the time. Is this one coming back, or is this one coming back? And I'm like, I can't really say. But the answer is yes, one of them is. So I hope you're excited about that. That'll be a lot of fun. It'll be later in the summer. So we'll be on top of that soon. I'm sure once the Beer Fest promo's really underway, I'll be able to really let you in on that secret. It's going to be a hot one, like Rob Thomas sang about in that song Smooth. So, okay, speaking of hot ones, one of the cool things here, right, is that I've been trying to do this thing where at the beginning of the show, I try to like introduce you to something cool new in the store. So today I had that opportunity too, because a friend of the show and a repeat guest on here, he may have have just made a little something fresh and interesting for you to try. So, what's up, Ozzy?
Hi.
What do you have today?
Today I brought you guys Chamoy peach rings.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, with a little tahine too. Do I see that in there too?
Absolutely. Put some tajin in it for everyone.
Thank you for pronouncing it correctly.
Tajin and chamoy.
Okay, I love it. So, just for the audience's sake, can you describe what both of those are?
Yeah, so chamoy is just a very sugary, like kind of syrup. Like I'm not even sure what it is, but
Sure.
I just know it tastes good on gummies and fruits and almost anything.
Move the mic a little closer to your face if you'd be so kind. There you go.
Okay.
Sweet. But yeah, because I see it get put on things like mango and a lot of other things. So I've actually never tried chamoy. I've had tahine.
Tajin, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get better at it.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue.
But anyways, yeah. So this is a very popular snack in Latin American households, and I decided to see if we can try to make them in house. So it's a new product. We're testing out to see if it
That's so
will
cool.
sell. Yeah.
Congratulations, dude. Seriously,
No
that's
problem.
awesome. I love that you made this. And look, I'm lying to everybody. I knew he was working on this, but when you told me they were ready, I was like, come over here and let's put this on the show this week. We need this for an intro. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to bust into them. That's cool.
Absolutely.
Anything
Please.
I should expect?
Wet.
Wet? Okay,
Wet,
yeah,
but
they're
the
definitely on the
wetter the
sticky
better.
side.
Yeah, the wetter the better.
I agree. That's why my shirt says that. Just I don't wear it on the show. Real quick, though, before I do try these, if people want to find them, they're out, I'm assuming somewhere in international. Where can you find them?
Yes, they are right now they're at the Hispanic section.
Okay.
We sell them by the pound, $4.49 a pound, and 24 ounces right now, or 16 maybe later. But yeah.
It's part of the test product. I don't think they'll be
That's a
too
test
mad.
product. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Dude, that's awesome.
Right?
Oh, man. I love it. Like, well, I remember a while back you had me trying all the tamarind candies and things like that. This, to me, does what those candies wanted to do, but let me chew through.
Yeah.
No, but you get, obviously, there's the peach ring flavor. You've had a peach ring, you know what to expect. It's almost with the tahini, you get that little bit of like a little heat, a little of the savory flavor, but I almost get like a slightly like a syrupy, vinegary note out of the chamoy.
Yeah, it definitely, the syrup stuff adds a different texture. It really just changes the texture of it, in my opinion. And like you're showing it.
Right,
Finger looking good.
I mean, legitimately, it's great. It would be that's one of those things that I'm kind of going to make you not leave in the office with me. They're delicious. That's crazy good.
Don't worry about
How did that even happen? You were like, hey, this is a product we should carry? Is that how that works?
So I got the idea from just visiting like some local places that sell this, but they're not like near us, near Fairfield.
Sure.
I think the closest one to our store is like maybe like a 40-minute drive. And I thought, hey, if someone's going to introduce this to right now, it'd best be, someone Hispanic like me.
Right.
And I made them and I overseed it, and now I'm selling them for you
I
guys to
swear,
try.
the first time I ever saw them was, I am about 40 minutes away from here in Covington at Gutierrez Deli. Sergio, our boy Sergio, friend of the show, Sergio, Oya Tacos. You remember from, when you were on with us last year for the Cinco de Mayo episode.
Yep.
These are great, Ozzy. It's seriously, no pretense, no funny face. Congratulations. That's really cool.
No
Thanks for
problem.
doing this for everybody.
Anytime.
Well, so let's make everybody come. Here's the deal, everyone. Why don't you come in with us? Well, you don't have to come in with us. Nobody ever takes me up on that offer except for, actually, a young woman the other day was like, no, I'm in. I have an idea for you. So hopefully that'll happen soon. But I think people should come in and check these out. It's so interesting.
It's a perfect like munchies kind of thing to watch while watching movies or something.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You
When
know
you're
what I
catching,
mean?
if everybody's, what do you have a TV show you're into right now?
I just finished The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, great,
Yeah.
awesome show. No surprise. The game was great. I was one of those. I was like, oh, it's still good. I'm deep in the second season of Yellow Jackets. Just started. This is my chance to tell all of you to watch Yellow Jackets because I need more friends that watch good TV.
Is this about the cannibal ladies in the woods?
Yeah, well, it's more about cannibals ? Right? We don't know if they're cannibals quite yet. And no spoilers or anything like that. The second episode just came out as of today's recording.
Okay.
But yeah, they're just trapped in the wilderness. It's a team of young women in the 90s or soccer team. Their plane crashes. And then, some is it the Lord of the Flies with these young women? Or is it a supernatural thing? Are they cannibals or are they having hallucinations in the woods? And what's really cool is the show takes place both in the 90s and then in modern day too, played by older actresses like Christina Ricci, Melanie Linsky. Everybody in the show is so good. It's awesome. If you want, it's funny. It's a show, you describe that show, infinitely more brutal than
Okay.
Last of Us was, which you're like,
Probably,
Last of
yeah.
Us was like emotionally brutal. This is both.
Okay, well, I would like to watch a very gory, kind
Yeah.
of cannibalistic show while eating very syrupy red gummies. You know, I feel like that would be a great combination.
It is. You just really want to purely. This is 4D technology.
4D.
That's amazing. Ozzy, congratulations again. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate your time, dude.
I hope everyone comes and tries it.
Yeah, and then if you
excited.
do, you have to give Ozzy a sweet kiss on the forehead.
On the forehead, please.
If that happens, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I consent to it.
Not just imagining someone coming up to you in the store and like trying to.
It's happened before. It's okay. I accept it.
All right, come here.
There we go.
Those were legitimately delicious and a little sticky, and I know he's going to keep retooling his formula, but I'm excited about it. I hope you come in and try those. They were, listen, I am a total sucker for peach rings, like I told him, and I'm very glad he took them out of the room because I would have eaten the entire box, and that makes it a little spice, a little sweet, a little heat. That's where it's at. Yeah, and I ended up trying the, how shall I say, manufactured ones that came from, I think it was Tajin made the brand. They're good, but they're like a little dry and not as good as the ones Ozzy made. So that's what you get. We get that kind of love and tender care here at Jungle Gyms. So come in and try it. All right, listen, that's enough yammering from me right now. The rest of this episode is wild. So Jimmy hits me up and he's like, hey, I've got this friend as this podcast. I guest starred on it. It's called Wake the Farm. Wake the Farm Up. Very funny. And he's like, you got to meet this guy, Andy. He's kind of like, sometimes he dresses up like an elf. He's an interesting character, but he knows all this stuff about farming, permaculture, all this stuff. He's very interesting. And I was like, hell yeah, bring him on the show, dude. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Ande the Elf from, I'm sorry to laugh. It's just like a great, when he referred to him as such, I was like, why would I say no to this? Are there other grocery store podcasts with elves? So, me, returning guest Jimmy B, and Andy from Wake the Farm Up podcast.
I'm Ande the Elf.
Welcome to the show. And maybe more importantly, Jimmy, you're back too.
More importantly.
Well, I mean, you are the reason that this is happening.
Yeah, both of
Andy's
us.
a good friend of
really-
mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have known each other for a little while, huh?
Long time.
Yeah? Too long yet, or good amount of long time?
Perfect
I
amount.
guess not enough yet.
Oh, okay. I was getting done with
Still
it.
getting to know you. Still getting to know
I was
this guy.
winding down.
Wait.
It was-
Well, we're trying here. Let me lead in with this. Since these are,
I'll just say I'll roll with consent on that. If you're winding down, like you feel like this is my last moment with Jimmy. Here,
no, but
let's
here, listen,
cheers to
it's
that.
about
Cheers to
balance,
that.
right?
Let's cheers to this moment.
So we're
here.
trying a bunch of local and
I think
fermented.
we're
Sorry, I have
winding
very
up.
short arms.
We're winding up.
Yeah, we're winding up.
You just changed. You just turned the tides.
I'm foaming at the mouth here. I gotta
So
try.
is the bottle. So we're trying right now. This is Fab Ferments. This is their lemon lavender flavor. Our number one seller, Fab Ferments. What's up, Fab Ferments? You're in Lockland, Reading, somewhere nearby. I have a standing invite to go there, and I haven't made time to do it yet.
I need to go down there. Love those guys.
Oh, that's great. That's refreshing.
Yeah, I don't drink much kombucha. You had it at your
You're fine.
place
You
when
can
I
relax. I'll just move it to you.
when I stopped over your place. You had some kombucha. And it was pretty good. I mean, there was nothing else there to drink. That's why. I
That's
drank
all we
it.
had was kombucha.
It was
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, you really like kombucha. I mean, he came over. That's all we had to drink was kombucha. Like, I come over here. Like, you got a couple bottles of water here for us. I appreciate that too. But yeah, kombucha.
That came out of the Jimmy
I love
tub.
kombucha too. I guess like it just comes out.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. It's a kind of a nice drink. I never think to put it on my rotation. It's nice.
It's nice. It's got that. You get like, I think Andrea. Shout out to Andrea. And she's Urban Jungle is the separate one. She's Natural Foods.
That's
In
but
aisle
it's
3.
starting to blend a little bit.
Yeah, but Andrea, either way, she's great, and she got us hip to all of these and helped us pick these out because Andy, you wanted to talk about like some local food and farm culture. Why don't you plug your show? You have a podcast.
Yeah. Wake the farm up, maintaining ground.
I love it.
And Jen and Jordan, yeah, the Fab Ferments, they're good old friends of mine too.
Yeah.
And been really excited, that was some of the ones that you guys had pulled onto the table here.
Oh yeah.
And they've actually been, planning and lining up to be on the Wake the Farm Up show at some point. We're
Oh, that'd
gonna
be
have
fun.
a full dive in on fermentations, all the different products they make aside from kombucha.
Sure.
So I imagine you've seen some of their other products.
So I met some. Actually, it was the event, that dinner we went to with Zamir.
Whoa.
There was a guy at the table who's just like, "Are you into kombucha?" Very randomly, he was like, "Are you into kombucha?" I was like, I kind of." And he was like, "We should go to Fab Ferments." So I'm blanking on his name right now. So if you're watching the show, sorry I haven't been yet, but I still want to. But. No, he was talking a bunch. So I spent a little time that weekend just researching what they were doing. It looks like a really cool setup. It's like, I love that there's all these brands and businesses happening where it's just like a couple people in their garage were like, you know what? If we didn't park a car in here, we could actually like grow some mushrooms, or we could make, ferment some food. Pardon me.
Oh,
they're good.
Just talk.
Yeah.
Just talk through it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Cover my face, nobody will know.
He's got a kombucha bubble coming up. It's starting to foam at the mouth.
This is really, well, you were talking about trying to find that nice intersection in kombucha flavors between like vinegar and sweetness. Right. And this is, to me, this would be a good, I would tell someone who's never tried it to try something like this first.
Yeah, on a hot day or something
this
like
is
that.
This is a really good one, for sure.
If I wanted to mow my lawn, I would drink this afterwards. Yeah.
So you don't want to mow your lawn. That can kind of get us into some of the other conversations I love having, and I know you wanted to talk about permaculture.
Yeah, talk to me about it. Like,
so,
I understand it very basically. So explain it like I'm 5.
Okay, I can kind of simplify it in, almost a haiku, not measuring the syllables, but it's
757, huh? Or the other way around, 575.
Yeah, we'll go with some of those numbers. So we got permaculture is a design system, so it's kind of a philosophy in some regard, but it's also it comes with a base of ethics too. So it's that basic of ethics of permaculture is the care of the earth, care of people, and to return a surplus. Mm-hmm. So that's like looking into a design. It's problem solving. It's solution finding.
Okay.
There's a common phrase from one of the founders of the name permaculture, Bill Mollison, is that though the problems of the world grow ever complex, the solutions remain embarrassingly simple.
It's beautiful.
And I've seen that, like through permaculture thinking and philosophy and the way you observe the world around you. It's an exploration of the human existence involved and incorporated into the greater ecosystem. So it enjoys a lot of the science and observation of nature from, common school of thought, but it's looking at it more so as like in a lens of ourselves in it, as opposed to studying nature from a petri dish or through an aquarium or through a lens as nature being separate from humans.
Right. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So that's kind of simplified with a few side sheets.
That was better than the Google definition, to be totally honest with you.
But
Yeah, they need to work on it on Google, but
that was good. I kind of want to go back to. I kind of want to roll back a little bit
Please.
because you used. I mean, I want to talk about.
What you rolling?
I want to because you used to. let's
That's
see,
after the show.
How did you get into all this? Like, and you.
Yeah.
We met in high school. Just throwing that out. We went
Sure.
to high school together.
Yeah.
But then after that, you've been doing all kinds of stuff. You even used to sell products in here. You had a.
We had our tea business years ago. We were on the shelf over there. I guess what's it called? The health food section.
Health foods, natural foods, health foods. Yeah, you had product over there, and then
It's all herbs and mixed into different tea blends that we had packaged and ran through a commercial kitchen and all that. We were distributing it all over the tri-state area and everywhere else that we were going on the road. At the time, we had a traveling tea house as well.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
And as Jimmy, here would prefer, we would often call it the Tisane house.
Right.
It's
Like,
like
so no one
mostly
gets
herbal
upset.
infusions.
Wait, you didn't go with the Tisane Asylum?
No.
Yeah, we were Tisane in the membrane for sure. Yeah.
We got to remember that one when we talk about the Cypress Hill soap later.
Cypress Hill.
And then you
Soap?
have a farm,
What?
all that stuff. So I was just setting the stage, and then this permaculture thing kind of worked into it. I was just building a little bit of foundation.
Yeah. What are you saying? I
And then
love
you had
foundation.
then you got a farm. Then you like have your own
Foundation for the
farm.
story here. Yeah. Well, maybe even going into some more of the foundation of story. I feel like, did you ever have Senor Williamson as a teacher at our high school?
No, I didn't.
So our teacher, he was my Spanish teacher, would take us mushroom foraging in Spanish. We couldn't speak in English while
Cool.
we were foraging.
Yeah, I love it.
Right? But for me, it was a fairly young age, like adventure of foraging, finding food off the land.
Yeah.
I grew up with a family. We had apple trees, and I picked, beans as a kid. It makes sense, by the way, for kids to pick beans because, bush beans are, the beans are maybe 2 feet from the ground. So kids are a lot closer and don't
Yeah.
have to bend over as much. Side note, anyway.
I feel like good for foraging probably too, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of things. There's a lot of different things to forage. There's high up things, of course. And
Right.
things you need to shake to get them to fall down and things you need to dig up. So,
Cool.
yeah, it was really early on. That and going to music festivals. I remember going to a music festival with Jimmy up in Ohio. And just at that age, having the fantasies, of this ideal world of living with community out in the forest, like put my mind to it, thinking about it. I've often loved that idea of that kind of, larger communal living, but it hasn't dialed in like that for me ever. And I've definitely settled into other grooves of nuclear family. And
Sure, that happens.
I've had grooves of, right now I'm living very bachelor life at my homestead, and the homestead functions in a different way when there's a family there and when there's not, like a full family. Having been in my place now for 12 years, it's definitely invoked a lot of those memories of what I dreamed of and thought of doing years ago. So I think like those 13, 15-year-old selves would have been really happy to see where I've come to at this point.
Very cool. Okay.
That's awesome. Now I'm like, what music festival? Sorry.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd let Jimmy decide
Was that
to
acoustic
share on that
hookah?
one.
Was
Yeah,
that
it was
what that
acoustic
was?
hookah.
Ah, that would have been fun.
Yeah,
some Ohio folk music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was such a straight guy in the band. They kind of had to break me out of my shell a little bit.
He was a straight guy in the van. Like, you see the color of your shirt here. Yeah, like I remember him wandering off by himself and coming out back to our little campsite area about 2 hours later, and his whole body was painted with like that kind of color.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wandered into something kind of weird.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Well, that just means that Jimmy and I are going to do that on a
was
future
a
episode of the show. Bringing body painters in.
Right.
Yeah, it was a festival. I mean, some people get all painted up for sports events and things like that.
Yeah, that was my sport
Yeah,
that
celebration. Celebration of music.
Yeah, it's always
Jimmy's
cool.
an amazing musician here.
We got a
Oh, I was like, was that
permaculture
is
ripple.
something clicking
Oh,
over
We
there?
got a permaculture ripple.
Yeah.
Oh, the extra cabling.
So,
No, go ahead.
But then permaculture, what's the perma and the culture? Like, what's the perma word referring to?
The
and what's
perma
culture
refers
word?
to like how we do our hair.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
And the culture has to do with like we like kombucha.
Okay, all right, so that explains it.
Well, you were talking about like kind of sustainability of the land, right? I mean, and what I was taking from that was really a focus on things like, yeah, kind of creating sustainability. You mentioned about like the difference between us kind of generally as people viewing nature through a lens, and this is really a better way for you to integrate hands-on, right? Like, and would you say something about a surplus mindset?
Yeah, so like you're designing and creating a solution that will create a surplus. So it's not something that's like sucking away from the greater ecosystem. It's something that's adding to it in form of life, some sort of more like biological life, more food to the greater food system, whether it's wildlife or it's coming into Jungle Gyms International.
Sure.
So
Love it.
permaculture, though, the word itself comes from the idea of designing a more permanent culture, and it's simplified as permaculture. A lot of designing a culture has to do with food because there's yet to be very many like breatharian cultures that have thrived for a long time. We need food. For me, with the podcast, music's definitely involved and infused to the show a lot because I feel like that aspect of local music, like finding those local artists in different places that we take the show, is important in being able to give a platform for them to share and tell their stories. and go beyond just like the everyday, like what you hear on the pop radio channel.
Absolutely.
So-
I one of my favorite things that you guys have been really cool about letting me do. Well, when I first pitched this show, I was like, I pretty much just want to live my dream of becoming David Letterman, but in the store. And I was like, every so often, let's bring a musical guest in. And you guys have been really cool about that kind of thing. Because my whole thing is, we throw the word culture around, but for me, it was like food and art and music, and there's all these things that kind of come in this global sense of what it is that we are. Yeah. So I like that about listening to the show, because I tuned in when Jimmy's like, hey, give this a listen. I did another podcast. I was like, first off, cheating on me? How dare you? But second, no, it's great though. It was really fun. It's always nice to hear Jimmy cut a little bit loose. So thank you for giving me that.
Yeah. Okay. He cut loose there.
Yeah, it was great. Speaking of cutting loose, can I give you guys some pineapple rage?
Yeah, let's rage the pineapple.
So I'll give a little spoiler review. I think I like this even more than the previous one. I'm also, but I should say I'm a big pineapple fan. You're so welcome. Oh, is it? Oh!
Permaculture.
Foaming at the tip.
This is the most exciting action on the show in months. Yeah, just give it. I'm so sorry, Jimmy. I was so excited to share with you.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Take that last little swig.
Burn it off.
This is fun.
These are really nice glasses.
Thank you.
Well,
they're the opposite of permaculture, though. Well, they're perma in that they will never be destroyed until the sun explodes.
They might compost faster, than.
Yeah, it could be. I didn't really check
There's
it
a
out.
lot of talk about climate change, so maybe something in the climate will develop some bacteria that eats plastic faster, or some kind of mushroom or something, right?
Yeah, there goes like 30% of my wardrobe, though.
Yeah, it's going to eat it. Plastic is eaten within hours by nanoparticle plastic eaters.
That's amazing.
That were released from a lab 2078.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I welcome our new bacterial overlords.
That was a fictional blast.
No, I like it.
War of the Worlds.
No, I like it.
That's what we have to do. We have to do our own War of the Worlds here. But on a serious note, what do you think? What do you think of the pineapple, gents?
That's the rage.
Is it?
I feel pretty good about it. Yeah, it's got again. It's that nice balance of the kind of vinegary, but also the sweetness. Good carbonation. It tastes healthy. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like I just bit into a pineapple, but it saved me the convenience where I don't even have to chew anything. It's just like all the live nutrients of a pineapple plus some.
Yeah, my jaw is very appreciative right now.
But no fiber.
No fiber.
Oh, that's a good
We need to do a
point.
show about fiber.
Yeah, well,
I'm into that. I love fiber.
We need to find a fiber specialist.
Yeah. Just talk to me about bromelain and all those.
I saw a guy with a fiber optic shirt in there. You want to? Maybe he could tell us something about.
It was me,
right
Andy.
under our nose.
Can we get the fiber optic guy and all?
Flip the switch. Paging. Yeah, you were excited about the Hen of the Woods chips. Well, that's named after Mushroom, another local brand.
Yeah, look, it's got 4% fibers. Here you go, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Excellent. What's
We
the other
got
flavor?
two different kinds.
You got
here.
white cheddar jalapeno. You want me to open these?
Yeah, we got Hen of the Woods.
You seem so excited about it. You're like, I think this will
love
pair well.
local stuff.
Yeah.
And this is a local company, Hen of the Woods. I'm still curious, why they called themselves Hen of the Woods. Do you know what Hen of the Woods is?
It's a type of mushroom, right?
right.
I think.
And I don't see any mushrooms in here.
No, but I'll butcher the story, but I'm sure it's wrong. And it's probably on the bag, but I thought they were somewhat similar mindset to you, where I think they were kind of investing in the, pardon me. The kombucha got me this week. I'm so sorry, guys. It turns out I'm still human.
There is a little bit of caffeine in kombucha, so
Really?
we'll see you kicking it up a notch here. I had to look that up the other day because
If caffeine makes
it's
you
made
burp.
with a black tea.
There you are.
Oh,
Oh,
is it
cool.
always black
So,
tea?
so a lot of the caffeine retains in it even after it's been cultured.
Interesting.
Is it always
Yeah.
black tea, Andy?
So we'll try to save most of these chips for later, just so we're not crunching all your guys' ears. But I know you're gonna probably want to.
Well,
grab
that's part-
a
it's a
bag
food
of chips
show.
and
Let's
you're,
go.
You're
Yeah.
gonna crunch on it while you're listening to this show.
I
Go
made a
get
joke.
bag.
I made a joke on the most recent episode I released that one of my dreams actually is to start figuring out a way I can curate the stuff that we eat on the show, and then I could have like a small thing where it's like, hey, every week I'm going to put together 20 of these bags, and it's just the items that we talked about on the show, so customers can come in and like eat along with us on the show. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you could have it like right out here, right outside the studio here, where people can pick it up right
That'd be
when
fun.
they come in.
Yeah. See, dreams can come true.
Yeah.
This is it. We got that going. We got the fiber specialist happening now. We've gotten a lot. I actually think that'd be a really good one.
Fiber show.
These chips are great. I haven't tried the white cheddar. So when I get Hen of the Woods, I go everything bagel. But that's my.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like an East Coast,
That's the worst. That's the worst flavor.
Yeah, New York City kid.
I like
That's the word I'm
I
looking
like
of.
nothing bagels.
You know, everything
Nothing
bagel
bagel's good too.
Yeah.
is like a farce. That's a lie.
What, everything bagel?
Yeah, 'cause
yeah, it was
there's
like there's
not
no
everything.
koala
No.
meat or any of that.
Yeah, there's no watermelon or anything in
Right.
there.
It's just like you said.
You have pencil shavings? I need that on the outside.
Yeah.
You and I said
Where's
no
the umami?
expectations. We said we have no expectations about tomorrow. And
Yeah.
he said, well, I do kind of expect the booth to be there and for you to be there. And I was like, for the sun to rise tomorrow, I guess we do have expectations.
Yeah,
we
just
got-
certain ones.
Yeah.
Oh, slight ones.
Now, see, what I'm seeing about these is, are these produced by Hen of the Woods?
I believe so.
You know,
What's it
normally
say?
they say distributed by.
Oh, interesting.
But this says obsessively crafted. I mean, this would make
Oh,
me
you
think
know-
they're making these. Hen of the Woods itself is manufactured.
I think they are. And so
That's
I'll just stare into the
impressive
camera and
nowadays.
say, Hen of the Woods, why don't you invite Jimmy and I to the chip factory and we can learn all about your process and show people how cool your chips are. Because Lay's will not return my phone calls.
Yeah, no, they never manufacture their own product. They always, someone else manufactures it and they just throw it in their bag.
Put the name, yeah, a
Distributed
little white
by.
label. Yeah.
Distributed by.
That's my secret dream too. That's what. Well, I guess it's not secret. I keep saying all of my secrets out loud, which is very good. Nobody will ever be surprised.
Yeah, I might have to mix in like a little crinkle of the chip bag with like a little hen sound in there.
Yeah.
You know, just like mix that in there, Hen of the Woods.
I'm gonna need like a musical performance out of you for this at some point. Send me what you got.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll mix in a Hen of the Woods cut. I mean, yeah, you're right. I do believe they are manufacturing these here in the area. And
That's a big deal.
It's
Yeah.
a really cool thing, you know, like if all the food systems and trucks quit going, we'd still have some pretty dang good flavors of chips to crunch on, and we'd have some kombucha. I mean, do you see how they kind of go good together?
Yeah, I see what you mean now.
Not
It's
yet.
that kind of that like I was getting like with these, you get a little bit of the heat from the jalapeno in it. And I think I just in general would enjoy like a vinegary potato product in general. So like that kind of vinegary note,
Right,
a little bit
right.
of the sweetness to round it out. I'm into it.
A little effervescence.
Yeah, I feel like I'm very partially carbonated myself. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to cut
Definitely
back.
not flat.
No, not at
Those
all.
do go.
He's
no,
not flat.
He's not flat. No.
Yeah. The look.
So why should customers care that we are talking today? I mean, what are they going to learn from
That's a
this
great
episode?
question.
What are we giving them?
Well, some of the things, you know, just not to like shut your business down or anything, but like I love getting people to learn ways to like
This
produce,
is Jungle Jim's exclusive.
you know, to produce their own foods, and it's kind of cool with like the Jungle Gyms International. Like we could even be encouraging through this show other food growers to connect with you to bring more local foods through the Jungle Gyms International market.
Yeah.
I think
okay,
it's pretty safe to say that we're interested in that kind of stuff, that kind of outreach,
for
right?
sure.
So let me ask you this. If you were, let's say, Mark, I've never grown anything. What would be an area of food that you think would be a great place for a beginner to start thinking about growing some of their own stuff?
You know, often it's not always about growing exactly like something yourself. Being able to recognize things. I love teaching foraging. It's very accessible to people who don't even have land because we
Yeah.
all have access to parks.
Sure.
There's places you can go, just things you can know about different parks, like when they might spray next to the sidewalks,
Sure.
things like that. It's
Yeah.
important, you know, thinking about where people's dogs are pissing, all that kind of stuff.
I spend
But,
a lot of time thinking of that.
There's places that you can go and you can like find all kinds of wonderful things that could be added to your cuisine. Like we have some elderberries here from a farm that's local.
Yeah, Boulderberry Taylor.
But you can also like forage and collect those yourselves in
Oh,
different
really?
areas.
Cool.
It's good to be mindful of where you're not supposed to. There's certain parks where you're not supposed to
Sure.
forage and take things. But
And most
yeah,
parks are
find-
pretty good about like announcing what's an off limits area.
Sure.
So
Yeah, and then like there's like friends who you might have that have some forest or even a backyard, and you go in their backyard, you might find some oyster mushrooms growing on a log from a dead ash tree that fell down last
Yeah.
year. So
I've always wanted to do that. So now that we're here, I'm like, are you the person that's going to take me foraging this year?
probably
Cool.
I've done that quite a few times. I've taught many people over the last couple decades foraging.
Yeah.
The first class I taught was actually in Cincinnati area. It was down in Price Hill
Cool.
at their little place called Mago.
Okay.
And yeah, I've been sharing and learning. It's amazing how much you learn when you're sharing about foraging. You have a group of people that come, and 10 of them will have a story in the middle of the plant walk or foraging conversation that you've never heard about a certain plant or a way to use it or a way that a person has attempted using it before that didn't work even. It all like goes into the experience of wisdom, I guess, that I've gained in that realm. And I love sharing it. Yeah, there'll be a bunch of different plant walks lined up this year. And
No kidding.
yeah, it'd be fun to maybe even like get both of you guys out foraging and get
Take the
a
show
little
on the
group
road.
around here.
I've been itching. I posted about this a bunch on social last year, and I did it again this past week. I really want to go find some morel mushrooms. I think about it every year, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking for. I mean, I know what I'm looking for, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Well,
I'm just
I will say,
like
I know
walking in the woods.
with the morel mushrooms in our climate around here, the way it's been, the window of time from the morel season here has been very quick.
Yeah.
Longest I've seen it has been about 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Where places in Colorado, I've seen it be 3 months, or even in Michigan, like for several months, people are harvesting and finding them. So it's something to look at, if there may be some kind of ecotourism kind of opportunity to harvest them in these areas where they have longer windows.
Oh, that's interesting.
For
yeah,
sure.
I like that expression too, ecotourism. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's a neat word.
Yeah, I mean that'll just explain my next Colorado trip instead. I was like, I'm looking at mountains. No, I'm in the ecotourist.
Yeah, add in a little buzzword of that in there. And
How many planes did you take to get here?
next thing you know, you'll be staying in like
I'm
a little.
offsetting my jet fuel.
Yeah.
You'll fly there, but then you'll land, and next thing you know, you'll be staying in some cool little off-grid hut that has some unique like shelves made out of mud and fascinating gardens outside of it with the best food you'll ever eat.
Yeah. Anything served to me in a yurt is exciting. I'm sorry.
So is foraging like, is it the more you do it, the more you see, the more that's out there, or is it kind of a limited, is it, 25 items? Or
Everybody learns differently. Really, like everybody comes to it in a different approach. Some people come to it more casually. Some people come to it out of an extreme need.
A need, yeah, I guess
Like
how
they
much
need
can
some
you actually
food,
eat?
and if
Can
they
you-
find a way to supplement their food with foraging, then it's kind of a need.
Okay.
But
okay.
it's a need that can have a lot of fun and passion and excitement to it because you're learning, you're using your brain, you're feeding your body with things from nature and its different wild places, and you're communicating and getting to meet and connect and talk with other people who are doing so similarly and learning from them and trying things that they've harvested. Fascinating things like how easy it is to quickly accumulate a bunch of acorns in a very short period of time, turn it into a flour that you can use to make pancakes or bread.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So like things, it starts compounding on itself, the possibilities of what you can do.
And is this the kind of stuff that you cover on your show as well?
Definitely. I talk with an interview a lot of different plant enthusiasts of all different sorts.
Yeah.
I've had the great experience of getting to work with plants in a lot of different realms, from landscaping to field ecology work to farmers markets for over a decade to the farm consults that I do through, that was the original name, Wake the Farm Up. It's still my consult business. It's perfect fit, for the
Love
name,
it.
right? It's like can help people wake their farm up. I've had people have me come to a piece of land that they're thinking about purchasing.
Okay.
Just to like see it from a more experienced homesteader or a farm perspective and kind of toss around their ideas. I like to help people see what the land is capable of and match it with what they're wanting to do, because that's what they're capable of. Sometimes the land is not as capable of providing for a person what they're wanting to make it do. So a person might still buy that property because they like the look of the house or something, and they'll go in debt trying to like make a farm work there, where if they could have set themselves up in a different way or worked with the land in a different way to see what it wants to provide as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really interesting.
Can you pass one of those cups for a dump bucket, please?
Oh, yeah. Great idea.
This is one of the sweet ones. You were talking.
Yes. So we just
got
moved
adult
on.
bucket.
This
You were
is
talking
the,
that
sorry, Jimmy.
certain kombuchas are too sweet for
Yeah.
you. This would be in that category, right?
I think so.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, I like it, but I see exactly what you mean. This
I
one
can
is.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, so this is we had this as a closeout. This is a seasonal Yuletide cheer from Skinny Piggy. It's definitely my first thought was I was like, oh, it tastes like apple pie.
Yeah, it's not bad. But
No, but the other ones also seem a little more how I taste kombucha in my head, for lack of a better way of saying it.
yeah.
It's not bad, and thinking of the name they gave it, Yuletide, it definitely tastes like a seasonal one that
For sure.
would taste good when it's cold outside and you're sitting by the fire and you're just eating like some cookies that somebody gave you,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
or you baked yourself, right, with some acorn flour in it.
You want
Yeah.
to try? You want to try the next one from them? This is Mojito Mambo. This is a green tea base actually. So to answer one of your questions
yeah.
from earlier,
Derby Day.
this one is this one's green tea based instead of black tea based.
Okay, so maybe a little less caffeine, but
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe a little extra heat on it.
it's
Maybe a
interesting though, because in like a mojito, like a racetrack thing, you think it would have a little extra horse kick in it or something.
It might actually. That's like the third ingredient is actually
It's a
horse
horse
kick. It's really weird.
Yeah.
This one actually, all kidding aside, water, cane sugar, green tea, spearmint, lemongrass, live kombucha culture.
Nice.
Just top it off. So this should have like a
I like
nice
that.
little that one.
I like
yeah, a
that.
little minty.
That one I think would pair well with like some wicker chairs surrounded with like
Yeah.
lots of foliage and pots and
I can see a big terracotta pots.
like one of those like sweet ladies in the neighborhood having a conversation with you about some vintage teapots that she found in
Yeah.
her attic.
He's like, oh, Andy, let me show you
pairing.
this. Yeah, he's
That's the
like,
pairing
The
notes.
pairing, I love pairing notes. Do you remember that from the Wake the Farm Up show? We like pairing things
Yeah.
that are like very descriptive pairings.
I will say with these, I think not that whatever. It's just a preference. I'm always so afraid. I'm like, I don't want to sound bad because I do like these, but I think I also prefer the more heavily carbonated ones that we were trying previously.
Yeah.
It's like that thing where I don't know. Well, I don't want to say it because it could sound bad. I'll just say it. But that thing where like, if you like left a soda out a little too long, so it's like, oh, there is some carbonation, but like maybe I
like the
open
can-
this at 4 in
You
the
know,
morning
a lot of
and
people
then
don't like to ride the carbonation wave down.
right, exactly.
You know,
I'm
that
all
takes
about
a
the
certain
come
kind
up.
of person.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I do that, but it's not for everybody.
No,
Like some people think the world's flat,
right, and so and this is a
cool.
great drink for
Yeah,
that.
that'd be a great one for them.
I do like the flavor though. I mean, I think it's like kind of like a light mint, refreshing. Although on this one too, it's also pretty sweetness forward, right? I'm not crazy in saying that.
I often think the cup definitely makes a drink too. Part of me is tasting this, trying not to imagine the cup too much. Paired with this cup, it does kind of take it into the dental office, almost.
Oh, this is the one you spit the
Not to
thing
be
out.
Yeah,
hard
no,
and-
I get it. No,
you know, I'm
listen,
a
we're allowed to have
creative-
preferences.
descriptive-
They didn't pay for this episode, so
It's very, yeah. It tastes like something I would have had at the dentist office with the cup.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the mint they try to sell you.
yeah.
Like the pina
They're
colada.
like, oh,
mint.
go ahead
No,
and swish
thank
this
you.
for a minute, and then spit it
just
in that
take-
weird sink.
Yeah, and then we're going to
Yeah.
put a vacuum cleaner in your mouth.
That's honestly my favorite part of the
Yeah, I love
dentist.
that.
Though. Yeah. Like I think that should actually be at restaurants sometimes. Tell me that wouldn't be a great idea. You're like
Right.
done, and you have your own hose that
Oh,
you attach
yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
All the chairs lean back.
It just
Yeah.
pulls-
Meals,
it pulls
you're not
out,
looking at
like-
anybody you're with. Everyone's looking
Yeah.
up.
I'm like, I'm gonna
People-
need a minute.
people
Yeah.
swoop in.
I have a bib on my chest.
your
That,
teeth.
yeah.
It's like as common as a yawn, Like I
Right.
love that, like talking about like the human as an animal often, and I like looking at our human animalistic behaviors that are acceptable, like yawning in public.
Yeah.
I was at the airport one day, just walking, like looking around at all the different faces. Everybody looked very serious. They had their "I'm at the airport" serious face,
Yeah. I've cleared pre-check.
Yeah.
and then you just see somebody just like arms up, their elbows are out, and their mouth just stretches wide, and they're like, "Argh!" And nobody thinks it's weird at all.
Yeah.
It's just like part of our animalistic behaviors that we accept.
Yeah, I'm
like,
acknowledging my fatigue publicly. And then it's a race to see what you can put in someone's mouth. I'm always that's why I keep small snack foods with me at all
Yeah,
times.
just like-
you never know.
a few berries or something. that
Yeah,
can just pop in
elderberries
there.
actually
Yeah.
from Boulderberry Farms. That's
Right.
why I keep a small.
Yeah. So when somebody falls
Dump some
asleep, they'll have a
elderberry
little.
in someone's
Yeah.
yawning mouth.
It's a little immune,
spring-
support for you, buddy.
like a pepper grinder. That's awful.
Don't choke on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be good.
Yeah, maybe some Drew's and artichokes.
I went back to the pineapple rage since there was a splash of that.
Yeah,
left.
I'm
That
not
was-
really feeling this one either.
That's okay. We're allowed to do that.
there we go.
Oh, look at that. It's a whole cup for somebody who's feeling like they want to try a little
Yuletide.
Yuletide
I just
mojito.
drank-
Mojito, yeah.
I just drank the whole thing.
Yeah,
Whoa.
powered straight through.
I just turned myself into one of those little vacuum cleaners.
Maybe, okay, permaculture.
I love it. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah,
think about that. I mean, does it
kombucha,
have to do-
like what does kombucha have to do with permaculture? You guys are probably wondering that somehow, other than it's like locally made and like you kind of get the idea that local things are favored for a permaculture designed brain.
Which I would say is true, though. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it is a locally created thing, so it's definitely be celebrated. I'm pretty sure that the ones that we've just tried here use local ingredients, and I know they've supported my farm in the past before buying
So cool.
different produce for their ferments.
Yeah.
So that's really good. The more local growers you have being supported, the more our local food culture can figure out what grows really well here in our ecosystem.
Yeah.
Without putting the farmer in debt, and figuring out these different things. And there's hundreds of different things. I know in the time I went to farmers markets, I brought over 300 different species of plants to the farmers markets. Well, I should say plants and mushrooms, that's included.
Sure.
But that's like tomatoes being one thing on that list, with several varieties of that.
Yeah.
So there's so many different things we can grow in our area. And, on the international conversation, it's fun for other areas and for us to celebrate other areas, what they can grow in their local areas as well. And I love the idea of trading, if we're growing amazing aronia berries here and we have so much more, we've created that surplus, we can exchange that for coffee beans that are fair trade. Let's make a fair trade. We can't grow those here very well without a high dollar like greenhouse machine set up, and it's like we're going to need massive greenhouses set up to grow our own coffee. And I know people love coffee.
Oh yeah. How do you feel about those massive that seems to be a really big movement in the agriculture in general is like these.
Sure.
Yeah, like the indoor farms for I try to simplify it, but how do you feel about that?
Honestly, I like the idea of them as another system and way of people producing food. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like it's the ends to a means.
Okay.
To, just settle into that. Like, okay, now we can have like spaceships with like food systems that produce X amount of food.
So you're 2078.
It's we're gonna have these controlled climate systems floating in orbit, growing our food. With different drips and, there's just a lot of plastic parts involved in these things and little metal parts and things that need to be extracted and brought in and things that can break. Where in a natural system, what I call a food forest, which is a very common part of the palette of a permaculture design, when there's room for forest, is to create these forests that are multiply taking care of themselves as well as providing for us multiple things such as fuel. Like I get forest, cuts for heating my house. So there's different ways, these things from the forest can be harvested for fuels. Other areas, there's things in the tropics like the wax nut. You can actually harvest those nuts and create wax candles from them or use them as a fuel. Foods, fibers, there's different fibers that can come from the forest for making our own ropes. There's on one of my episodes, we joked about making a rope for 2 weeks, where right now in our day of age, we can go to the hardware store and get that same thing for like $2.50, $2 or something. So it's, like looking at, measuring these things, remembering these skills and keeping them alive in case we need to make them. But like, how else can we design them in ways that make it so that we can make locally made rope or something, like somebody's dream is there. Let's encourage and support that. Can they get it to be $2.50 and then watch, as the prices of inflation go up and they keep their prices at the same? So that's a big thing that we've seen with grass-fed beef. As beef prices go up, grass-fed beef prices stay about the same because the price of feed stays the same. It's just sunlight and grass.
Right.
Whereas the grain prices are going up, so it makes the price of beef go up.
It makes the taste go down.
Right.
I mean, personal opinion.
So it's kind of fun that like things like local grass-fed beef prices now are starting to match other and meet in that realm, making that way more easy for everybody to be able to support that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is sort of interesting because that's like not to harp on just that one focus, but that like the whole grass-fed beef thing kind of felt like when it first started showing up more commonly, it definitely had that bit of like, this is a luxury beef,
right?
Right. And now
we
it's
tried to sell it here and it never really took off.
Really?
Yeah. What's the beef on that?
I don't know.
Where's the beef?
It's like that customer is a whole different level of customer, but that's interesting when you say the feed goes up. The dynamics are always changing. In the world.
I'm curious how that's going to affect a lot of the really fancy like A5 grade Wagyu and things like that from overseas.
Sure.
And just to see. Sure. I haven't bought any very recently, but I'm almost a little afraid to see what the
I know
price
there's
tag
been
looks
more
like.
Wagyu meats being produced in the States. There was a guy on the show that was producing some Wagyu pork in West Virginia,
cool.
raised on acorns and all that.
I had somebody gave me a piece of a pork ribeye, and it was an acorn fed pig, and it was one of the most incredible pieces of honestly, maybe just meat I've ever tried, but like I was very impressed because I like pork, but I was shocked that those flavors came through. I'm thinking about one time I had this olive fed Wagyu. And they fed I think it's like grass fed to a certain age. Sure. And then at the end, they're pretty much just only fed olives. And it gave the meat this really interesting, beautiful texture, flavor. It had some funk on it. It was cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not even like a big, I like
off the
olives.
Tree, branch off the branch.
Yeah.
Olives.
Yeah.
It was wild. What kind of olives I like? All of them.
All right, well, that's a show, folks. No, honestly, we're pretty good ways in here.
Should we try some of the last kombucha?
I think we should do that. Because I was going to say, this is perfect timing.
This one, Unity Vibration.
Which one should we do? We got
tart raspberry.
I think
this one, was it Andrea?
Andrea
was saying that these are a little higher and
so these
and some alcohol.
This has alcohol.
This actually has 8.2.
These two, this brand is 21 and up customers only, not 21%, but you have to be of age. Yeah, because this is technically considered. They have it labeled even. Their website is UVK beer. So crack. Ooh, that's sweet sound.
It's foaming, but not quite as much as
I'm into it.
Earlier kombucha.
I'm curious about this tart raspberry. I drink a lot of like fermented beers. My go-to brewery is Urban Artifact in town.
Thank you.
And they ferment all of theirs. They ferment, using wild cultures. That's like their whole thing. So the move into kombucha for me has been pretty easy in that I'm like, it's just kind of tastes like sour beer, and I love it.
There's some good sour beers around Cincinnati area, like the Urban Artifact there in Northside.
Yeah, it's my go-to spot.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. And they have the coolest venue in the city, hands down. Yeah. Radio Artifact, so cool.
Yeah, it's fascinating living in this like time where old churches turn into breweries.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
I'm curious for your note. I have a thought, but I won't say it till after you try it.
So what we're trying right now is the Unity Vibration Hard Kombucha. It's a kombucha pale ale. It definitely tastes harder than most pale ales I'm used to having.
I actually, when Andrea said, she's like, it'll kind of be reminiscent of an IPA. I get less that.
Yeah.
You know what I get? Something that we carry in the store as well. It kind of gives me a sake vibe. I have a little of that like fermented
I'll give you that.
Wine
it's
angle.
Mellow,
I was like, interesting.
Mellow round.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that a lot more than I thought I was going to. To be honest with you, when I looked at everything we brought back, I was like, I bet I'll like all of these. I feel like that'll be the one I like the least.
That would pair really well with like a sunny day on a back porch anywhere, like a suburb in the rural area, like even on the fire escape in a city.
Yeah.
With like a little grill, a big grill, whatever.
Yeah. To smell something nicely, just charring up a little bit. I like it. Yeah.
Maybe you're
sounds of the street.
Maybe you're listening to like a cool Jungle Gyms podcast or something.
Hopefully. And if not, I'll go with just like put on like a jazz fusion record and see what happens.
Yeah. Maybe you'll wake the farm up.
Hey, of course. That's my playlist now. It's just my show and your show. It's kind of amazing.
So what are some of the things, like I know you guys have a lot of fresh fish and whatnot here. What's the like most like the closest fish that you guys would have here that you can think of? Is there any like freshwater fish? Or
As a matter of fact, and then this is a shout out to an early episode of the show, but we do work with Root House Aquaponics over on the east side of town, and we carry their fresh. He joked with me on the show. I don't think we ever aired it, but they joked about calling it freshwater snapper. But he grows very, very high quality. Raises very high quality tilapia, and then he uses. You'd probably love his setup, but he uses the fish waste to fuel the food. He built this whole really incredible. What's that?
Have you been out there?
I haven't yet, but I want
really
to.
Cool.
We keep talking about it every so often. I think I might go out with Sinsoy at some point too and do the whole
really
thing.
Cool.
It sounds awesome, and he was really passionate. I think you'd love him, Andy. And he was really passionate about what he does. He built it all himself, and it's like just a kind of, simply complex design for it, but it sounds really cool. And his lettuce that he grows is unbelievable and keeps for. I forget what the count was, but I followed up on the episode. But weeks, yeah. And it was one of those that I gave one of the heads he gave me to my mom. She's like, "Oh, I forgot about it. Do you think it's okay?" I was like, "You should check it. It's been 2 weeks at least." And she was just like, "This is almost as good as when you gave it to me."
Yeah.
But the fish, yeah. So and then we have that on display in the seafood department.
I might go get one of those.
It's really
grill it up with some of these chips later and get
maybe
more of these
crust it,
pale ales.
Yeah, I just cracked into the tart raspberry from Unity. We will find out shortly. I'll pass the can over.
Yeah, this one's hot. You can taste that alcohol.
Yeah, for sure. You cannot taste the alcohol as much in this. Well, no, there it is on the back end. You get that it's sweet, but it's a little vinegary. The balance is good on this one.
Yeah.
But you do get the alcohol on the back end.
Please.
I really like the artwork on the can here.
Yeah.
There's a butterfly girl, like a little fairy.
Yeah.
With some, she's flying through some raspberries here. It's some really good botanical artwork.
I love it. Little nature, a little psychedelic,
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell. I'm on board for it. Of all of these, I think, so going back to your original chip pairing comment, which I've been slowly trying with everything.
Oh, that's good.
It's good with the raspberry. It was really good with the pale ale, too. The little bit of jalapeno.
I could drink this.
Yeah, this one definitely takes me more back to a kid, being a kid drinking a juice.
Yeah.
It's like a really,
or a melted popsicle.
but it definitely has the
that'd be good.
8.2 alcohol volume. I get it after that first sip of it there. This one can be pretty dangerous for me.
I can see that too, because you don't notice the alcohol content at all. It's just, we're living in it.
Yeah, this one could pair with me with a really good time for sure. Maybe a bike ride where I'm with just
this is my foraging brew. That's the vibe I'm taking right now. This is me.
Have a couple of those with you out foraging on the bike
then I'll already
trail,
be on the ground, so it'll be much easier to find the mushrooms.
cruising along the little Miami, so you don't have to go up any hills or nothing.
Yeah.
That's
Kayaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Do you guys have a favorite of the ones that we've tried so far?
I'm very much a nowist, so I'm going to go with the one that we're still having here right now.
I'm
glad
torn.
we saved that one.
You feeling that too, Jimmy?
I like the first two we had.
And that one. Yeah. I think I'm torn in particular between the raspberry and the first two were both awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That pineapple rage just hit me in that tropical. I think I'm starting to hit. I want it to be spring weather. Yeah,
we all.
I'm manifesting it. I was like, give me some pineapple. No, but you mentioned the from melted popsicle, but now I'm like, I kind of want to take a can of this and freeze it into a popsicle with one of the many great molds that we have out in the cookware section. I didn't even think about that. All right, so I gotta get another. I'll try. I guess we'll try pineapple rage instead. But the concept is somewhat sound.
And what's the deal with kombucha? That it's supposed to be healthy. What's the gig on it?
There's been a lot of research, and especially in the last 30 years, on microorganisms in all different fields of biology, including inside of our guts. And it's been shown that the gut flora that grows and develops in the kombucha drink helps our digestion. It helps us digest everything else. It's like everything, though, we just slammed a lot of kombucha here. That might be a little bit more excessive than you really need, but it's fun. It's not going to hurt you.
No. Cool. Yeah, because people usually drink a serving.
You're going to reach for a sour beer or this kombucha. I mean, this is going to have more going on than the beer.
I would say than most of the beers, at least. I keep going. I hate, not that I'm trying to plug Urban a bunch, but I do know they do kind of ferment their beer a similar way that I think is unique to them and not a lot of other sour beers. Don't quote me on that. Because Brett and I have not gotten our episode together because I either would get in a car wreck or he'd get COVID, then I'd get COVID. But anyway.
Sounds like drinking problems.
Yeah, it really was, right? Like that's like kept happening. Yeah. I was like, I just want to drink more. So
It's aged on oak.
Oh,
That's really
I bet
good.
that's that little
really
sweet
good.
note that's in there then obviously outside of the raspberry itself.
Wow.
Yeah, I like Unity Vibration. That's a great name too.
It is. It feels like something about oneness, a
sounds like
global approach.
Sounds like a music festival, right?
Yeah. Would you
yeah,
not go to
sure.
Unity Vibration?
Yeah, we just went
They
there.
just put out 3-day passes.
Yeah. Did you get your wristband? Don't forget that wristband.
They are weirdly trying to sell me an NFT, but
Yeah, that's the thing now, huh?
no, that really it's so.
So in
unrelated.
permaculture, in
Yeah, I was gonna
permaculture,
say, hit me.
an NFT, it means a nitrogen fixing tree.
I love that
See,
so
that's
much.
like-
Way better.
Yeah, so like a black locust tree, what they do is they collect nitrogen from the air, and there's bacteria node colonies that live on their rootlets that suck the nitrogen up off the tree and they exude it out into the soil, and it feeds all the other plants around them.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah,
I just,
NFT.
Yeah, that's way better. And well, because every time I hear non-fungible token, I'm just like, not a mushroom. And I know that's not
Yeah.
right, but I mean, it I guess technically is right.
I think of like some styrofoam toy coin or something, you know? It's like, okay, what do I do with that?
Yeah, nothing.
Right, exactly. Throw it in the garbage.
Not food today.
No, right, exactly. When I get desperate enough,
This has sound vibrations applied to it also.
Oh, that's what happened.
that's really kind of I.
Man, this has got beer. This is running laps around the beer.
It really
It's
is.
got
It's got
sound in it.
8%. Yeah. Every time you can hear it, like listen to that. Oh, that's the sweet, soulful
What kind
sounds
of
of
sound do you have in this?
All right, so here's a dumb. So tying back to our music festival thing. So the NFT thing, by the way, that's real. Lollapalooza is trying to get people to buy NFT with their tickets, like get an NFT with their tickets, which is silly. But the first time I ever got to see anything is in my old show. I went to Bourbon and Beyond Festival, and one of the sponsors for it was the brand Blackened, and they're owned by Metallica. And I was like, "Oh, this is funny." And they're like, "Oh, you like to see funny? Let us show you this place." So they showed me this setup, and what they did is, I guess, probably similar to what happens here, except it's less branded. But they had casks of the whiskey that they were making, and in the place they just play Metallica's music 24/7.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, it's imbued with the spirit of Enter Sandman.
Sleep with one eye open.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like,
Exit
I have a feeling
night.
this feels like a much calmer music is played. Like
Yeah, they say
somebody's
the
just like,
vibration levels. It has a name.
does it really? That's
Yeah, it's on
amazing.
the back,
Oh
man.
my
The
gosh.
rating.
Well, now I want to see what's on the back of this one.
So, some plants do actually respond better to heavy metal than
528 hertz. That
Oh,
okay.
that's what it is, yeah.
Oh, interesting. So that's like all the meditation music that I'm into now too when I'm trying to go to sleep at night. But I feel like
Okay.
they're in the 400s usually.
Yeah, I bet they like jazz. Like we were talking about.
That's
jazz
what I was thinking. I
and-
just hear some sweet little like a little glissando every so often play me something loosey and smooth on a guitar. Oh.
like nature when you get into that time of the year around
Mm-hmm.
here and you can really hear the improv jazz of nature, right?
Yeah.
Starting to now. I've been hearing spring peeper, the tree frogs, and different things starting to come on the warmer nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, nature definitely has like a sound vibration
jam,
that
dude.
can just
Yeah.
jam.
Right.
Yeah. I love when the human can get involved in that part too.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Ribbit, ribbit.
Marinara.
So if by chance somebody's listening to this and they can make sense of anything we spoke about, and they were more interested, they were more curious about a next step, what could they do?
Well, there is a group that I helped start in the Cincinnati area. If you're in the Cincinnati area where Jungle Gyms is, called the Cincinnati Permaculture Institute, and you can look that up, cincinnatipermacultureinstitute.org, and see different workshops they're doing there throughout the year. It's a great place to start. You can start anywhere you are. Like I often, when I'm traveling, I'll look up a Facebook group in a different city. I'll just type in, Philadelphia permaculture. See what's going on there while you're there.
Cool.
If you're traveling,
Yeah.
look up, just different resources on the internet for sure. There's like so many different ways to go. Everybody gets into permaculture in their own way. So earlier we were talking, about, what can I grow? And we kind of went into different things. I do know some people get into permaculture and might live in an apartment or live in a place where they have a metal shop but no garden.
Right.
And I remember a guy, he asked me, I'm not really ever going to get into gardening, but I really like being involved in permaculture and help building the culture. and he and I talked about, a few different designs for broad forks and other specialized garden tools that are often found in catalogs that are like,
Oh, cool.
harder to find. And he custom made some and had a business for a while selling those to gardeners who were growing. So there are other avenues. I mean, things like being a curator of foods, making a market for people to be able to like distribute those things and making them more available to people is just as notable and honorable as the farmer growing it themselves. That's, it's the whole loop of it all connecting together,
I
really.
mean, that's the culture, right? I mean, I hate to
Right.
just keep saying that word,
the
but
culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
circle of life.
And then why don't we hear about permaculture more? I mean,
I
is
think
it overshadowed by something else, or just general Earth Day type things too broad, or is it overshadowed? I don't know.
I think there is a lot in the word itself. So a lot of the work I've done that I would say is permaculture action or work, I often don't even use the word permaculture because it's not always necessary to make a solution work. It is for me a wonderful word to explore a deeper language of something. So when I do a plant walk with people who have been involved in permaculture already, we can go into a very much so deeper conversation using different words like the difference between pollarding and coppicing and seasonal observations, of different places can be conversed about really quickly. Talking with plants, like using taxonomical like nomenclature, like the way that we're describing a plant in one place could be described in a different way in a different part of the world, but you're talking about the same plant, different names, different local names, but it has the same taxonomical name. So you can really just all these things, having more deeper conversations when there's a greater depth of understanding of the terms, and you don't always need the word permaculture. It's just a very encompassing word that helps open a doorway for sure.
I guess the concept is so big, one word doesn't really encompass it all.
Right.
It's just
It's
a big
like the
concept.
epitome of like an umbrella, it feels like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the umbrella for the umbrellas.
It
Yeah.
should just be culture. Like technically, culture should be focused on being sustainable.
Right.
But we've kind of lost.
We've
that.
kind of need to be more conscious about how we're doing it and ultimately celebrate it. Like what we're doing here is celebrating these locally crafted kombuchas, these locally crafted chips. There's like something extra special about it, right?
Yeah.
Not just that it was on sale or
No.
had this special flavor or something. It's like it has a good flavor and there's like something that you feel that's like it's the earth here. For me, eating from my homestead, there's been times where I'm eating 100% food from my homestead, maybe salt, like that's not from my homestead, sure. But yeah, just amazing meals I'll have and the way I feel, just like the concept I have children and just like having observed taking manure from my donkey and goats and watching that turn into a garden and watching that turn into food, which turns into children growing up.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
That is fascinating. I like the way you said that too, by the way, Jimmy, that it should just be culture. Although I will say, I think there has been this interesting movement into people focusing on locally made things. And, I feel like it kind of started when people were like, local honey. That was the first one I remember hitting on a kind of like on a pop culture level. We're like, all right, we're eating honey that's within 90 miles of the house now, right? Or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, honey.
But it is funny, I think you'll hear people say things like, this tastes like it was made with love. But I think there is that tangible sense of like intent maybe is what you taste a little bit. Like I really like Head of the Woods chips because they taste good. It's silly to say. It's like I would assume most products come out with like, we want this to be the best. But there is just something nice about it being like, oh, they're right down the street. Somebody's hand making those for us, right
It's actually
now.
really good.
Just like Jimmy and I making all of the chocolate bars here with the bicycle thing that
the
we
bicycle thing.
Yeah.
I love that.
That would be hilarious. Jimmy, we should make chocolate. I don't know.
Yeah, Jimmy's
Andy.
Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, right. I would tell me you wouldn't go. I'd go at least once.
I would try to get that golden ticket.
You would have the most interesting chocolates on the planet if you made them. Yes.
Is that how I come off?
I think you would have. Here's the thing.
He pairs
It would-
things well.
Exactly. You would do this. You would have a very unique chocolate brand that would not be like a sweet thing. It would have these like fun. There's a brand that we used to carry. We might still. I think it's called Latour's, and I always think of this bar they
Yeah.
made called the Bollywood Bar, and I feel like that's
Yeah.
a bar you would make, because it was like a rich bar, but it had things like turmeric and all these like Indian spice notes to it.
Right.
And it was so unique and interesting. And so as soon as we started making the jokes an hour ago, I was like, that's the kind of bar Jimmy would make. It'd be unique, it'd be cool.
I love
it
that
would pair.
I love that
Nobody
you
would
brought
buy
up
it.
Chocolates Latour, because I've worked with them for years in the past.
Oh,
I
that's cool.
developed a bar that had spice berries in it. And it was one of the first chocolate bars that had spice berries in it
That's awesome.
on the earth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
That's fascinating. And bringing a local native plant, you know, that's what kind of the celebration I'm talking about
Yeah.
too, is like celebrating something that only grows here in this part of the eastern hardwood forest.
Sure.
Or something like that.
the pawpaw
Like
fruit.
the
There's
pawpaw.
You were gonna bring some pulp or something. Pulp. I just like saying
the
that.
triple P.
I'll have to fax that to you.
Yeah, that's it. Please. Yeah, send me an email. Well, gents, we've hit a pretty solid hour here. I think we should tap out. I think it was a great time. Andy, I honestly, you were a very interesting character. I'm really glad you came and did this.
Yeah,
and
appreciate being here
I'm pretty
with you.
serious if you're okay with me bugging you about doing forging sometime.
Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love for you to be on the Wake the Farm Up show sometime.
I'm happy
And
to, yeah. Let me know.
The show here doesn't always get to explore you quite as much. Maybe we could do a show and ask you a bunch of questions about
You are
what
more than
Mark
welcome
does.
to. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Really.
That's
get to
me.
it, really
Yeah, exactly.
Get to it.
Mark's like,
I'm
None
like,
of that
yeah,
music
no, I'll be
stuff.
completely honest.
None of that music talk. Get past all that.
I know he plays guitar.
Yes.
So we're going to get him playing a guitar.
That'd be
sometime.
fun. Yeah, I'll sing for you or something like that.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, that'd be
I'll
great.
pull my American Idol clips. So,
And we'll
Yeah,
give
well,
you an honorable,
thank you so much for having me.
Andy, my absolute pleasure. Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really. And Jimmy, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate
and
it
we'll
too.
give you an honorable Chief Wiggum badge.
That'd be so cool. I'll do
good
my
your plan
best
is.
Ralph
Ma-
Wiggum
Maybe we could do at least like one cut from our song that we can remember.
Right.
at the
whatever
Jungle
song
Gyms
we
Music
remember.
Festival that we were threatening to throw earlier.
Yeah. We could headline.
Can you believe I made it through that whole interview without singing "Wake up, wake up, wake the sun"? You don't know that song probably, but I wish you would. On that, it's been a wonderful episode. I know I got through all of the buy our tickets, all that good stuff at the top of the show. Tune in. We've got more fun stuff. Soon I'll have a check back in with Del Hall after his beer fast ends. Pretty sure Dr. Jungle is going to go ahead and check his vitals out when we have that done. We got that. I'm going to drop a whole episode teaching you all about the world of mushrooms. And you know what? I'm just going to close this by showing the cartoon Mark face one more time as drawn by Josephine. Thank you so much, Josephine. You made my day. This is very cool. This is like, just be nice to people, you know? And if you like things that they do, you don't have to go this level, but, you know, it's weird. You can just say things like, I like what you're doing, and it'll make their day, especially me. I'm sitting alone in the studio like 50 hours a week. It's okay. Just say nice things to both of us. And I'll say something nice to you, too. So I think you're all wonderful people, at least the ones that I've spoken to. I don't want to, like, blanket statement that because there might be somebody horrible watching. But the jokes are for me. On that, I appreciate you all so much. All kidding aside, thank you always for tuning in. Thanks for supporting Jungle Gyms. Thanks for coming in and buying all the stuff that I post about on TikTok so it can sell out so I can go, here's my market value. And on that, I'll see you out there in the aisles.
The Jungle Gyms podcast is recorded in the WJJI studio inside Jungle Gyms International Market in Fairfield, Ohio. The Jungle Gyms podcast is produced and hosted by Mark Borison.